Sonic Lab
TV.
Hello, this is Sean Ra. This is Sonic Lab, Sonic States, and today I'm looking at Rob Papen's new virtual instrument, Blade. Blade is a 16-voice additive synthesizer with really astounding modulation features and really just an infinite number of options. So let's have a look at the interface. Now, at first sight, Blade looks completely and utterly daunting, you know, knobs and buttons everywhere. But actually, once you start getting into it, it's not actually that complicated, even though pretty much you can modulate anything with anything. But Rob does a couple of really good videos explaining the harmonic, and also there's an introduction to the whole synth itself. I've got Blade open on my MacBook Pro 13-inch inside of Logic. It only works inside your DAW. It doesn't come as standalone. If you open up the manager, you will see how all your sounds are organized. They're organized into banks, and actually the first bank, the introduction, it gives you 128 really sort of like powerful sounds that really show what Blade can do. You can preview the sound even without hitting the keyboard. Just hit the preview button. And you can go up and down the presets using the up and down arrow on your keyboard. It's very easy. And then you will notice that all of a sudden you have this animated XY pad right in the middle, which is kind of like the really interesting modulation factor, which does some really unique things. But we'll have to come back to that a bit later. I need to show you some other stuff first. Right at the heart of Blade is the harmonic, which is basically where you get to do all your additive synthesis and create your own waveforms. Now, I'm going to have to rush through this because of the length of the video. I've loaded a blank bank, so we're just starting from scratch, and you can see the harmonic structure of the waveform here. There are actually 96 partials, for those who care. In its raw form, it's not the most inspiring of things, but you can see how we'll build up from this. Bass control changes the fundamental, which is the first and most significant harmonic. Kind of sounds a bit like a high-pass filter. The range changes the width of the harmonic spectrum, more or less. The symmetry is the volume of the harmonics or partial before the fundamental, as you can see, and after. Now, the timbre is a mix between a kind of organic, a whole bank of more organic kind of sounds, waves, and the actual harmonic itself. Even takes away the even partials, kind of makes it thin, and then odd, kind of almost square wave. So rather than individually playing with all those 96 partials and stuff, you've kind of got simplified and kind of intuitive ways of creating your own waves using additive synthesis. What you can do with the harm and the harm volume is actually add another whole harmonic spectrum that can be shifted. I'll show you. Now, this really comes into its own when I hit shift. Ooh. See? Aha, the bells. And also, you get the kind of obligatory sub-oscillator to help everything along a bit. Now, if you go this way with a sub, creates a kind of square wave, and this one is a sine wave. And almost like unison mode, you can layer more harmonators. It gives you the option of 3, so you can either go 2 or 3, and then this is controlled by spread. So it's kind of like unison detuned, really. So loads of variations in harmonics and creating your waveforms. And now we actually have some sort of basic synthesizer blocks before we get into the intense modulation. Starting with the filter, we have 14 different types of filter and all usual suspects in the forms of 6, 12 and 24 and 18 decibels. And some interesting ones, or 2 interesting ones. We've got a Vox kind of working on vowels and a comb filter as well. One funky feature about the filter section is the separator dial, which separates the frequencies in a stereo way, left and right, kind of making it wider. Also, we have 3 envelopes. The dedicated envelope can change all the parameters of the harmonic and also the filter. And then you have to kind of dive in here to go to the other 2 envelopes, which you can, as you can see, brings up loads of options of destination and source. Much the same with LFOs. We have a dedicated LFO here, and then yet again inside the modulation window we have the 2 other LFOs. As you can hear, that's wallowing in reverb, and there are actually 2 effects generators with 27 effects per generator, and they can also be modulated, so you can change the parameters with pretty much anything, and they're actually really nice effects. I really like them. On top of that, there are 20 different distortions. Some of the distortions, like this one, are particularly digital, but then you've also got some kind of fuzzier, warmer ones, like that. By a long way, the most unique feature of Blade is the XY pad. Along the top and down the left-hand side, these are just parameters from the harmonic, but then on the right-hand side and on the bottom, these are some of the parameters from the harmonic, but also filter, Q, and volume. So you can play with this, and as you can see, in live mode, I can go between the axes, which is nice, but it gets a whole lot deeper than that. Possibly the best feature is that if you put it in record mode, you can record this movement. So I'll do it nice and slow so you can see. Okay, and then when I put it in play mode, off it goes. You see? Now, you can choose to have loop off, so it'll just play it once, or you can have loop on, but wait, it gets better. You can sync the movement to various time divisions in your DAW. You can also smooth it, so kind of calms it down a bit, it's less acute. You can change the speed, and you can also modulate the speed. I think what might be useful would be also to show you that if you right click, you'll get basically all the options for the XY menu. And what you'll probably do, I'd imagine, is you can latch the X and the Y controller to your MIDI. What is really funky about this XY pad is it's just like having like a super LFO, or you're getting sort of modulations completely otherworldly. And as a sound design tool, or maybe putting like a sound to motion in Picture, yeah, it's awesome. It's impossible for me to cover everything, absolutely impossible. So I'm just gonna have to show you a few of my favorite funky features. Right, up here in play mode, if we record a chord, I'm actually just gonna string this out a bit, so you'll get a better idea. And then when I put it back in play, it will play that chord, which is kind of, not unusual. Now, if I bring strum in, you'll see it kind of strums the notes. This is very slow, see? And that can be synced. And if you want it to look pretty, put your play mode back on the XY, and you are like tripping. And possibly the feature of all features, which I'm sure you can all relate to, is this. There's an easy button. So yeah, if you have no idea what you're doing, you can get straight in there and just change group sort of macros of the harmonic, the spread, turn the sub up and down from the sine and square. You still got control over your arp. I think turn your arp on. So you can see you're getting right in there without having to Work out what every single thing does. Nice global parameters. Same with effects. Just mix. How cool is that? The amount of XY. And when you've really got something going in easy mode, all you have to do is right click on easy, translate easy to main, go back again, and your sound's in the main menu. With power comes responsibility. Responsibility in this case is what it's going to do to your CPU. So you can see as I'm pressing more notes that it really is kind of chomping in there. It's not particularly bad at CPU compared to others, but you know, it has to be taken into account. There's a transparency patch using the arpeggiator, but what's the point? What do I actually think about Blade? Now, the first thing you need to know about Blade is that it doesn't make organic sounds. That's not where it's coming from at all. You've got to think sci-fi, outer space, otherworldly, metallic, binary, digital, gritty. This thing is not expensive. It's about 70 quid upwards and $139 US. All the usual suspects format-wise, AU, VST, RTAS, no standalone, remember. Compatibility, Mac 10.4 upwards, PC, XP, Vista, and 7. Okay, whew, and relax. So what do I actually think? I think for the money, the bang for buck, yes. There's a hell of a lot you can do, and very, very unique way of thinking, very out of the box, lovely. The kind of crux of it is if you like these kind of sounds, but that's kind of obvious. Plenty of examples, so you know, work it out for yourself. This is Sean Ra checking out. Bye.